Hello, Ron Briggs, Blackmore, Vale Honey, and welcome back to the channel. So in this episode, we are going to be making and waxing frames to go into the bee boxes. And if you remember back in January, February, I think it was, I did, as part of the series, I did make a couple of frames. I've had a complaint from one of my students, they couldn't quite see what I was doing. So I thought I'd take the opportunity, because I think I did promise on that video then I would show you another way of making frames with a nail gun or a stapler. So that's what we do there. So we'll cover the whole lot in one video. So let's get on with it. Let's talk about the different types of frames, because you'll notice when you look in any of the beekeeping suppliers, they have these names and numbers for all these different types of frames. So you get, for example, DM1 or SN4. So let's have a little talk about what they mean. So think of D as deep, or DN as deep national. So all my frames are national, so that's all I'm going to be talking about. So the N signifies national. And then you've got deep national. Don't get confused, because some people call deep the 14 by 12s. When it comes to the frames, it's not. And I don't even know if that does mean deep national. All I know is DM1 is for your standard national brood frames. All right, or DN is, should I say. So that's what DN signifies. SN refers to, well, super or shallow. I've heard it called different things, but in essence, it's your national super. So an SM1 would be a standard or a shallow frame, or a super frame. Right, the 1 and then the numbers indicate the different types of frames. So you'll get DN1, DN2, DN3, DN4, DN5, SN1, SN2, SN3, SN4, and SN5. So I don't use all of them. So the only ones that I use are the 1, the SM1. So the SM1 is the sidebars are the same width as the top bar. And they're the ones that go in the castellations. So that's what the 1 is. That's what the number 1 signifies. Not sure about the 2 and the 3. I think it's to do with the thickness of the top bar, the 2 and the 3. But the 4 is for Hoffman frames, or self-spacing Hoffman frames. So this would be together would be a DN4. Right, deep national is brood. That's a brood side frame. And because it's got the Hoffman in it, that's a DN4. And SN4 would be the ones that go in the super, but again with Hoffman frames. And then you get a 5. And I think the 5 is the Manleys, I think, but I'm not sure. Because the only ones I use are the DM1 and the SM1, the SN4 and the DN4. That's all I use. And the frames go together, whether they're the super frames or the national frames, in pretty much the same way. So what do we get then when we get the frame? We get a top bar, and usually on the top bar there's a piece that's joined, but only just. Come back to that in a bit. You get 2 sidebars. Don't forget these. So these are the, as I said, the DN4s, and they're all exactly the same, but one goes left, one goes right. So one side is smooth and the other side's got the groove to accept the wax. And then you get 2 bottom bars. And they do exactly what they said. They go on the bottom. And that's it. So what we'll do first of all, we will put together a couple of frames, the traditional method, if you like, using hammer and nails. So if you're using the traditional way, you don't need much in the way of tools. You need a hammer, and these hammers are the best. These cost no money at all. Cross pline hammer. That's your little, it's just a little tiny hammer. And it is absolutely perfect for making frames. A Stanley knife, craft knife, and it's always worth having a screwdriver or a scraper, just for if there's a bit of wood that's a bit stubborn and doesn't want to come off. You might need that, and then you need some nails. So when you buy your packs of 50s, it doesn't come with nails, so you might want to buy a box of nails. And when you buy them, they're premium, then it'll come with nails. So I got asked what size these were, and they are 19mm or 3/4 inch frame nails. Cool, that's it. So let's get on and build a frame. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do is we've got to separate that loose piece from the actual frame itself. So I'll show you how you do that. Right, so the way we remove this then, or the easiest way I've found to remove it, is some of them you can just snap off, but others you'll need a blade to do it. Now this is, although it doesn't look like it, the safest way to do it. So if you used to go that way and your knife slips, you're going to cut your hand or you're going to cut anything that's in front of it. So you are going to pull it back into your body. So you lock your elbows in when you do it, and you pull that back. By pulling it back into yourself, okay, it can't do any damage at all, and it's much safer to do it that way. So all you got to do is, and it helps if you keep the blade flat against the piece the solid piece, not the piece you're removing. If you can keep the blade flat against there, you get a much nicer cut. So that goes in there like that, and then all you do is put it back towards you, like so. Now sometimes, because the way it's done, you might have to go down through the centre as well. That then comes off. All right, and then what you notice there is sometimes you'll end up with a piece left in there, or a piece left on the outside there. Look, you see it's just a piece there. The piece that's on here is generally really easy to do, because all you've got to do is just pop it back like that, all the way down, and that will peel off. And all this, by the way, chuck it in your smoker. The bit that's left on here is a bit more difficult, and it is worth taking the time to get it off, because it'll just make that bottom frame sit back on easier. So we'll just run the knife back down there again. There you go, and that just lifts that off, look. Perfect. So we need to do that. So that's the first thing we do. Then once we do that, we attach both of our side bars. And the way we do that is we just push them in, and sometimes they'll slot straight in like that, really easy. Other times they'll need to be pushed in a little bit. So 2 of those go in, 1 on each side. There. See where that's gone in there. So I'm trying to do this and keep my mitts out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So I've flipped it over, exactly the same on the other side. And when you look at it, when you nail it, just with your eye, you don't need to use anything special, but just it wants to be completely at 90 degrees. It's going in there, look. It's going in there. So that's it. So that's my side pieces put on. Now what we've got to do is put these bottom bars on. Now the bottom bars sit in these grooves on the bottom. Now, what you need to do is you need to make sure is this top bar needs to be exactly flush with each end. And the simple way to do that is if you hold it on the side, you hold it on the side of the table and you tap it just on there, that squares it up. So there we are. Can you see how that's now completely square on there and completely square on the other side? So now all we need to do is 2 more nails. One has got to go in the top of that, there, and one in the top of that one there. Right. See that? Now when you put that nail in, it wants to go straight in. If when you look inside, where's my pencil? There, if the nail has come through or fouls that groove, you're going to really struggle to get your wax in. So make sure that goes in square. So that's that side done. We'll just do the other side. And good. So that's one top bar done. And now all we've got to do is put the next top bar in. So there we have it. So that is the frame ready now to take some wax. So that's the next thing we need to do, is to put some wax in it. So when you come to put wax in, you'll notice that there is on one side, because this is wired, so I use wired on all my frames except for cut comb. Cut comb wants thin foundation. So if you can see that there, you've got two bits of wire stick out on that side, and on the bottom or on the other side you've got 3 bits which are a little bit bigger. 1, 2, 3, and it's this side with a 3 on that goes in first. All right, so hopefully you can see that. So the way I do this is on the top bar, you've got that piece missing, that piece we first broke out. Well, where the piece is missing, hold that towards you, and then your wax goes in, slides in on the top there, with the 3 bits of wire hanging downwards. And bring it down nice and even. Then those 3 bits of wire, you need to bend towards you. So I'll do that one first, and then I'll show you the other side. Yeah, bending it towards me. See that? So they're all now facing directly out this way. Then we carry on sliding that down. So now those bits of metal are sitting on the bottom, but it's on that top bar. Can you see that? Cool. So the next thing now we need to do is replace this bar. So the bar that we took out is now going to go back in there. So you just simply squeeze that back in there. Now this is the hard bit, because the nail, if you used to put the nail straight down, it'd stick out the bottom, right? And you'd have a little sharp piece on the bottom. Some people put it in that way round. I'll put it straight through there like that. Yeah, that works, but it's really difficult to get it apart when you want to, you know, clean up your frame and put it back together again. Other ways people will do it is they will take the bar that they put in and they will put it that way up in the frame, so that when they put the nail through, it doesn't go all the way through. The correct way to do it, although it is quite a little bit difficult, is, put that back in, is that you have to go in at an angle. All right, and you go in at an angle, and the nail has to go through where the wire meets. So you can see where this wire comes, the wire comes down. So where that wire comes down there, and we've got the piece bent through there, that's where the nail has to go, so that it actually goes through where that wire is. And it goes through at an angle. Now this is the difficult bit, so let me let me get one in, and then I'll tilt it and show you before I knock it all the way in. So this takes a bit of practice, this bit. But can you see how that nail is at an angle now? You see that? And it will be going through where that wire joins. Right, so I'll get that one knocked all the way in. I find it easier to hold it over a bench so that I can get my thumb in and push it all the way in so it's nice and tight, and then I can just tilt it slightly. Get that in. And then that's what that looks like, and it hasn't come all the way through the bottom. Now, another tool that you might want to use is a nail punch. Cheap as chips from Screwfix or Amazon. And all that is sometimes if the nail's a bit stubborn and it don't want to go in, and you keep banging it, you have a chance of catching the wax foundation and knocking a hole in that, which is not good. But whereas with your punch, your nail punch, so I'm trying to do this so that you can see it. You can hold that over the end of the nail and tap that in, and that will go in all the way then. Perfect. Right, let's get these other two nails in. So one in the middle. See how that angle is the same? Again, I'm going to hold it over the edge and get that so I can pinch it together while I knock it in. And then I can use my hole punch and just finish it off. That's in, and then we've got one more to do, which is on the last one. And there we have it. That is a frame built. Yeah, so if you're taking your British Beekeepers Association exam, it's 11 nails, and it has to be 11 nails. Some people leave a nail off of the pointy bit of the Hoffman frame because it juts out. But if you just go off to one side like that, it's not a problem. So, and again on that side. So 11 nails. One each there, one each there, 4 in the bottom, and then 3 on that frame. And then the last thing you might need to do, depending on where you get your foundation from, is sometimes the wire sticks out the top. You just need that to bend that over. There we go. You can see on this one, you've got the wire just protrudes, so you just got to bend that down. Otherwise the ladies will fill that up with brace comb for you. Right, so that is how we hand build one. So now another thing you can do until you get the hang of what happens with that, getting these things at an angle, is you can put your bottom bar in, and then where the wire comes down, just make a little mark with a pencil in all 3 places. And then remove that bar back out again. And now you've got your markings as to where your wires are. And then what you can do is you can take your nail and you can start it off by putting it at an angle. It's because it's easier to do it when it's not on the frame. Just to start it off, it's just to hold it for you. You can put all three on. Now, if when you're going for your exam, if you're doing an exam and you're nervous, because you have to take a couple of frames of your own frames normally along to be made. And actually what I've seen some people do when they make their frames anyway is because they're not very good with a hammer and nails and it goes all over the place, they'll get a drill with the smallest drill bit you possibly can get and they'll pre-drill it. And that works really well on these bottom bars. Not so much on the rest you need it, but you can hold that in to start with and you can do a little pre-drill at an angle and then your nails are going in exactly the right spot. Especially when you're nervous. If you're not very good at it anyway and you're nervous and you're shaking on exam day, it just makes life a bit easier. So I always said with this, now I've just got to nail that in. It's at an angle. So I hold it over the edge with my thumb so I can push it and grip it in, keep it nice and tight. One done. Two done. And the last one. Three. And then all we got to do then is, what I'm going to do is just finish them off with one of them. And that's it. Second frame done. Right, so that's all well and good, individual making, but what you can also do is make life a bit easier for yourself, and I'll show you. So this though, there's two things that can make life quicker. One is a nail gun or a stapler, and these you can pick them up for next to nothing. This is from Screwfix and it's a Titan one, and this fires staples and little brad nails. In fact, need some more in it. Let's get some nails. So they just come on a strip like that for your nails. They sit in your little nail gun and life's good. Now, the only thing you have to bear in mind with these is it fires staples as well. So there's two holes on the end here for your staples, and you got to know which hole if you're firing brads. Well, if I so when that was open, so my brads sat on that side. So when that's closed, it's coming out of the bottom one of them. So when I'm holding it up, it's off the right-hand hole. And I know that the right-hand hole is next to or just to the side of this. All right, so you need to know that where that is on your gun, should you get one. And the reason for that is when we're putting these ones in, you don't want to miss and go into the channel, which is going to make it hard to get your wax in. So that's one thing that makes life quicker. Another thing that makes life quicker is this little jig that I made up. So the jig in itself is going to save you time. The nail gun will also save you time, but together can save you a lot of time. So this one is, I set this up for, it can knock up 6 shallow frames. And to be honest, I never got round to making any more. This year, I am going to make a bigger one, which will do 10 shallow frames, and I'll do that before I do my super frames. And I'm also going to make a deeper one for my brood frames, because you'll see in a minute why that will be easier. So the first thing I need to do is take my sidebars, and they just simply slot in, because what I've got here, I've got 2 boxes. All this jig is 2 boxes, 2 empty boxes, one sits inside the other one, and I can't remember the dimensions, but there's you line up to whatever frames you want. So basically the width of this is the width of your frame. Let's see if I can hold it up and show you. Yeah, so if you imagine that's on there, look, 2 of them, and they'll sit in there exactly like that. All right, so the inner dimension of this is where that part of the frame is. So that's what you do with the outside one, and the inside one is obviously set up for where the other side of that cutout is, but just a bit looser, not too tight. So add 1 millimetre to each side. Just made off an old offcut of ply, and all you do, you take your side bars, keeping your groove inwards, and you load them up. Obviously with the supers this is even easier because you haven't got the Hoffman spacing. I think you can get 6 in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there, and then if you just push this that way, that holds them all tight, and then you can get 6 in the other side. 1, 6. There we go. And now the first thing we do then, I've already prepared them. I've already removed the piece of the top bar. It's just going to put the top bar on all of them. So put it on every single one. And it just, even this little bit, just gives you, something's holding it up for you, so it just makes life a little bit easier. So we get all those put in. Right, now, what you'll see, what some people do when they use this method, and I have seen, is they'll put a nail or a staple straight through the top to hold it down. I don't recommend you do that. If you're going to put a bit of glue on first, it's better, because if you think about it, what happens, what are you always doing to your hive? You're always gemming them out, aren't you? You're always gemming them out to come out, and what will happen is, propolis is really strong, that'll hold your frame, you'll pull that up and you'll just literally pop it straight out. So if you're going to do it, put your nail straight through the top. We could probably get another one in there. Then glue it first. So I don't bother at the moment. I don't bother nailing. So all I know to do now is I need to lift up. And this is where it gets a bit tricky with not having the right size box. But you just got to turn it over. Like so. Right, so now we can put the bottom bars on. And again, just put all your bottom bars on all at the same time. Right, so that's all the bottom bars on now, but it ain't pretty. So they're all just, you probably ain't going to be able to pick it on the camera, they're all not flush. So all we have to do is get them flush. So the way we do that is you're just tapping where the actual bar is. Just tapping where the actual bar comes through. And you tap all of them just on one side, and because it's in that jig, it will straighten them all up. And once you've got all them straight, just, well, that one's not, it's just, oh, there we go. Once you've got all them straight, just on one side, then you can nail them up. So remember where your hole is, that's where you're going to aim it, and you're going to get it in exactly the right spot on each one. Like that. And it's not that difficult. I even managed to do that without me, without my glasses on. Spin it round, and now all we've got to do is the same on the other side. Right, so that is now all of those nailed in the top. Right, now all we need to do is we just need to slide off this outer one. Slide that one off, push that to one side, and now all we've got to do is take them off one frame at a time. And as we take them off, all we've got to do now is, this is that one that was loose to start with, and then same again, all we've got to do with a nail gun is nail them in. And then you get your own, you can either do them all at once and then put your wax in. I just tend to do them as I go. So we'll put a wax sheet in there. We still fold them in the same way. Put our bottom bar in. Now this next bit is where the staple gun really comes into its own. This is where all your time is saved, because the nail on the staple gun is not as long, it's just that fraction shorter than the nail that you use when you're hand building. So yeah, all you got to do is hold it and fire it in. There's no messing around with an angle or anything else. It just goes into the bottom. I still got to go through the wire. Done. Yeah, and that won't come through the bottom, just because it's that fraction shorter. So see, I'm used to doing it like this, but I'm trying to show you. Job's a good one. So this next one was in tight. It's like they normally are, so it won't fall apart. So it just gets folded straight down like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the reason it is much quicker is because you haven't got the hammer and the nail. You've just got everything all in your hand at the same time. What I'll do is, if I've got a whole load of frames to make up, I'll use my that jig. As I said, I will make other ones because it is surprisingly quicker when you come around to do it. But if I'm just making up one or two, say I'm getting near the end of the season and only want a few, I kind of do a mixture of both really. I do like the longer nail everywhere, so on all the sides and all the bottoms I like the longer nail. I also like the nail gun just for that last bit. So I'll have the nail guns. In fact, the nail gun normally hangs up. It's corded. It's not cordless. Normally just hangs up there all the time, ready to go. So because it's like this piece, it's that last piece where it really comes into its own, the nail gun, when we're putting that last piece on at the bottom there. So I'll do a mixture of both nail gun and nails. So there we have it. So I just dug one out just to reiterate. So that is your brood frame. That's the length of your brood frame, and that'll be the length of your super frame. That's got the Hoffman sides on it, so that makes it a 4. And that one, and the super is just straight. See how much thinner it is? So that makes it a 1. So SM1 DN4. So there we go, that completes the video. Happy VE Day. Hope you got something from it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.